Nigeria, I am Jennifer Igwe. Nice to be with you again on another edition of Newsline. Be ready, this last edition in the month of August is loaded with all sorts of information and update. Now, academic achievements in any field is recognized as success and prestige. Becoming a professor is no mean feat. That is why we place them high and expect them to operate only at certain quarters. Today, you will meet a university professor who also works as a local barber during his spare time. Yes, you heard right. An admirable personality indeed. You'll meet him later. Then, when it comes to education and acquiring new knowledge, it is never too late, and we can never be too old. A 48-year-old woman is demonstrating this in Ogun State. You think summer school is only for children? Wait till you see what this mother of 6 did. We can't also wait to give you the information on what outstanding rope skippers in Akure, the Ondo State capital, are up to, and why right now all eyes are on the Guinness World Records for likely good news. And the good news for certain and worth sharing is positive development in the case of the woman in Abia State with protruding stomach we featured last week on Newsline. Her pathetic case and call for help has touched kind-hearted Nigerians, and process for treatment has started. We have all that on Newsline today, including other initiatives that mirror the good hearts of Nigerians and a few stories that shows the flip side and mentality of some. I'll pause now for the news segment because my colleague Claire Adelabu Abdurazak in Abuja is waiting to take the news. Claire, over to you.
I love the way you introduce the other segment of the news, you know. But it's good to see you, Jennifer, and thank you. Hello and welcome to Abuja studios and to the news. Nigeria is currently facing many social and economic challenges, but President Bola Tinubu promised to continue to take hard decisions necessary to turn around the situation for the good of the greater number of Nigerians. Now, it was a pledge he reiterated at the opening of the 2023 Annual General Conference of the Nigerian Bar Association, NBA, in Abuja. Our State House correspondent, Musa Danwahab, will bring us the report presently in the course of our bulletin. The Minister of Transportation, Saidu Alkali, has undertaken an unscheduled visit to the rail station at Idu area of Abuja to inspect the train station. Now, after the impromptu visit this Sunday, the minister promised to address shortfalls as early as Monday. Najatu Tijani was at the Idu area and now reports.
An uneventful ride from the central area to the rail station with a few bumps on the way. The minister arrives just like any other passenger, much to the surprise of officials, and goes straight to the task at hand. Inspecting the coaches, toilets and other amenities on the train, the minister also engages passengers to get first-hand information of their experiences using the railway system and immediately moves to address certain observations.
How can somebody use this train? Now that the VDC is unscheduled, I have inspected the coaches. Some of the toilet facilities are not working. I have received a complaint from the security escort that in the last 5 months, their allowance were not paid. And I am happy the managing director of the Nigeria Railway Corporation is appearing before the ministry to give me brief. And if he comes, I am now well informed. The escalator is not working, the lift is not working. It's making it very difficult for elderly and disabled people to travel by the train. One, I am going to ensure the outstanding allowance of the escort is paid on Monday. Two, I am going to liaise with the Ministry of Defense so that we still ensure, give them protection from the air.
With several workers at the station expressing excitement at having the minister visit and listen to their requests, the minister also urges Nigerians to continue to patronize the railway system while acknowledging efforts at refurbishing and developing it. The minister also pledges to make the system better in line with government's desire to make the transportation sector more accessible and affordable for all Nigerians. Naja'at Tijani, NTA News.
And in other stories, the Rivers State Governor Similaye Fubara is asking the federal government to clamp down on the cartel involved in crude oil theft to sanitize the nation's oil and gas sector. He was speaking at a meeting with the Joint Presidential Committee on Crude Oil Theft led by the National Security Advisor Nuhu Ribadu in Port Harcourt. Usinachi Abraham has the details.
The Presidential Committee on Crude Oil Theft is on a facilitated visit to the Niger Delta region to ascertain the impact of bunkering activities in the oil-rich region. Governor Fubara said the clampdown on the supposed powerful cartel and their syndicates will address the depletion of national resources and huge revenue loss.
Security of pipeline and all those stuff should not be given to one man or one person to say, look, you're going to handle somebody from Calabar to come and control what is happening in Obebema. It's not possible.
Leader of the delegation and National Security Advisor Nuhu Ribadu and the Minister of Defense assures the commitment of the federal government towards addressing the challenges of insecurity in the region.
This is a clear demonstration of a commitment and a belief that indeed time has come for us to more or less say, like what the Minister of Defense is now, open a new chapter.
We have the marching order by Mr. President to stop crude oil theft and all other vandalism around our installations.
The team is built to visit other Niger Delta states in line with President Ahmed Tinubu's directive. In Port Harcourt, Osinachi Abraham, NTA News.
And the Ministry of Special Duties and Intergovernmental Affairs is putting parastatals under its purview to task. It is asking them to brace up in their various operations to promote efficiency in service delivery. This was at a forum organized by the ministry to update information in basic areas of operations through collaborative efforts. Here is Kenneth Nanim with the rest of the story.
Championing nation building through the enthronement of social harmony, especially in grassroots development and effective implementation and monitoring of government policies and programs for national development are some of the responsibilities resting on the shoulders of the Ministry of Special Duties and Intergovernmental Affairs. To achieve all of these, the ministry is therefore engaging all its parastatals in gatekeeping processes. Represented by the Permanent Secretary, Ibiene Patricia Roberts, the minister urges them to uphold the right principles in all their dealings.
This is why we are taking every step to see that our parastatals perform better and eventually succeed. We will not rest on our oars until we see all things go well.
Following the rules of assets declaration, procurement, and recruitment processes are major areas where personnel must never compromise standards.
Now, not only are you expected to declare your assets, you are also expected to declare the assets of your spouse, especially if that spouse is not a public officer, because many people have been known to hide assets, in the spouse's names.
Shall greatly enhance the operational efficiency and bring synergy between the ministry and the parastatals.
The Parastatals Forum was hosted by the National Lottery Regulatory Commission. Kenneth Nanim, NTA News.
And Digitest and ICT Creative Camp for young people between the ages of 8 and 18 has ended, and winners are expected to utilize the cash prizes to further implement creative ideas on the reduction of plastic wastes using ICT. Deborah Bala Mubo reports.
For 2 weeks, young people between the ages of 8 and 18 were exposed to training on plastic waste management crisis and to develop creative solutions. More importantly, cash prizes and awards were given to some participants for support for the implementation and commercialization of the award-winning project.
We've been able to learn how to use Figma to a large extent to produce animations that actually work, and also to get marketable sites to link our projects with.
I know that the memories, skills and treasures we have adopted have just begun to manifest.
It's like a double-barrel kind of an approach this year. Really looking at ICT, which is a standing part of DigiTest every year, and then connecting this also with the issue of plastic use and plastic waste management. And I think the objectives set have been quite achieved.
Ministry of Education alongside other partners including the NTA commended DigiTest for showcasing such innovative experience for young minds.
DigiTest 2023, you have nurtured children and youth who have creatively developed ideas to revolutionize our approach to plastic usage and waste management.
NTA is happy to partner with Digital Peers International. I also want to congratulate the children also, the children themselves, who have been able to assemble themselves here to take advantage of this very important program.
Some participants left the camp with cash prizes of 500,000 to ₦1 million, according to the categories. In Abuja, Deborah Balagubu, NTA News.
Congratulations to them. Now, the Center for Transparency, Advocacy and Election Observer Group is asking the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, to put in place necessary technology to tackle problems arising from uploading of election results in future elections in the country. Now, this was at the unveiling of the 2023 General Elections Perception Study conducted by the group in Abuja. Timothy Yusuf reports.
An unveiling of a compendium on 2019 general elections and off-season elections up to 2022. Then the public presentation of report on the 2023 election titled Public Perception of INEC and the Conduct of Elections in Nigeria, a comprehensive survey. The need for Nigeria to have more credible outcomes in future polls took the center stage here, as the Election Observer Group equally called on INEC to improve on the timely distribution of election materials, intensify voter education, advocating for citizen participation in governance, and continue to promote peaceful political conduct during elections.
It is the duty of all of us to ensure the sustainability of our democracy in line with the popular maxim, the worst democracy is better than the best form of dictatorship.
More recommendations point towards the need for enhanced voter education, improved material distribution, security cooperation, and media regulations. The 2023 elections showcased progress, but also underscored the importance of addressing areas for improvement in Nigeria's electoral process. The report re-emphasized. Timothy Yusuf, NTA News.
The National Drug Law Enforcement Agency has arrested a South African man, Erasmus Jean-Pierre, at the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport in Abuja, trying to export 2.6 kilograms of methamphetamine to the Middle East. NDLEA officers also recovered opioid pills in Gombe, Adamawa and Ogun states, along with large quantities of skunk and cannabis in various locations. Meanwhile, transnational drug cartels attempt to transport ketamine and skunk were also foiled by NDLEA operatives in Lagos. All right, let's bring you the story now from our State House correspondent Musbadan Rahab on the president's reiterating his commitment to take hard stance to tackle the issues confronting Nigerians at this moment.
It is described as the largest gathering of legal practitioners in the world. About 17,000 men and women of the bar are here to appraise their professional standards and to adopt new ones. But they are equally going out of their way to support the young administration of President Bola Tinubu. They want the number one and other Nigerians to get it right as they chart a new course of nation building.
We have decided to go on with this conversation around the thematic areas of security, economy, and administration of justice, because these are matters that are of great concern to the people of this country.
Here, in the midst of barristers, is an our state's accountants who understands their contributions to democratic values, while is ready to spearhead necessary changes in the approach to governance and to continue to take bold decisions for the growth and prosperity of Nigeria. He is again asking for the support of all Nigerians.
The challenge is all for us to pull together a united Nigeria, committed to national greatness, unless we do it by ourselves. Unless we employ change of mindset, we cannot achieve the desired progress. I'm not being cynical, I'm being factual.
As President Tinubu pledges the commitment of his team to deliver a greater Nigeria, is equally soliciting the support of these solicitors on this journey.
Men and women of the bar, whatever it is that I'm doing right, remind me, I will continue to do that. Whenever it is that I'm doing wrong, tell me, I will change my code.
Coming so soon are recommendations from none than a world-class entrepreneur, Tony Elumelu, suggesting investment in infrastructures, poverty eradication, and empowerment of young Nigerians among other solutions to fast-track the development of a country.
Transforming Nigeria is a journey that demands our collective dedication. Building across political affiliations, ethnic differences, and socio-economic differences. Building and transforming our nation is one that is not the responsibility of our government alone. Great nations start with great people, not great leaders.
My humble charge to all legal practitioners in Nigeria, be it of the bench or at the bar, is that in the discharge of our professional endeavors, we should be continually guided by the need to place the interests of the nation first.
The administration of President Bola Tinubu is at the early stage, and these professionals are aiming at the end of this conference to come up with resolutions that can enhance the agenda of the administration in advancing the course of a nation. In Abuja, Musbao and Wahab, NTA News.
Let's now turn our attention to Adamawa State, where the government says it is set to commence distribution of palliatives to the people of the state to soften the effects of fuel subsidy removal. The government says a 20-man committee has been inaugurated in this regard. Simon Asher reports that the acting governor of the state, who presided over the inauguration, assures of equitable distribution of the palliatives.
The committee, which comprises religious leaders, traditional institutions, trade unions, members of the state and national assemblies, security agencies, and other civil society organizations, is saddled with the responsibility of ensuring the items reach the targeted beneficiaries. The acting governor of Adamawa State, Professor Kalita George Farota, asks the committee to be transparent and ensure fairness in the course of distribution,
so that they could go out to bring succor to our people and also to bring some cushioning effect as to the challenges and the difficulties economically that we are all facing.
Chairman of the Palliative Committee and Secretary of the State Government, Awal Tuku, promised to carry out their functions with all sense of responsibility.
As much as possible to reduce the pressure
reduce the tension on our people and ensure that at least people get especially food to eat.
As a foundation to bring about this timely intervention to kind of bring about succor to ameliorate their hardship.
The inauguration of the Palliatives Committee is coming at a time when spirited individuals and non-governmental organizations have since commenced distribution of food items to the vulnerable persons in the society. In Yola, Simon Asher, NTA News.
All right, let's now take some sports stories. Now, many people have described the position of the Minister of Sports as one of the most challenging jobs any minister can ever get. And that's because everyone claims to be an expert in that field. Well, Senator John Eno, who has been handed the task of leading the sports ministry, seems to have accepted that huge challenge. And in our next report by the Adeleye, examines the task ahead for the new minister.
From decaying sports infrastructure, infighting in federations, low morale for sportsmen and women, to inadequate funding, the new sports minister, John Eno, evidently has his work well cut out for him. More so that sport now stands alone as a ministry.
The president, in his wisdom, knows what he wants to achieve in the sports sector and thinks that I'm the one that can lead to that achievement.
Over the years, the development of sports at the grassroots has been an issue, and in setting the agenda for the new man in charge of sports development in Nigeria, experts say that should be one of his core areas of immediate concern.
He should focus his attention to grassroots sports development, not football grassroots development. He should not be minister for football. He should be minister for sports.
We should go to school sports, Principal's Cup, and then adequate funding, deliberate funding of the federations.
Despite efforts of the past leadership at the ministry to classify sports as business, the potentials of the industry remain untapped. Underfunding and inadequate support from the private sector have slowed down the anticipated growth of sports, while the crisis in some federations have not helped matters.
He must be able to have the listening ear of the president to be able to ensure that we get sport, and probably he can use the influence of the president to see the possibility of making sports viable enough for the private sector to be able to come in.
Crisis from federation affecting the players' performances. Enough of all these things.
Facilities and equipment play a huge role in sports development. Its non-availability, in some cases, and poor maintenance culture bring a lot of questions to be answered.
Learning a new skill or teaching a new skill, and there you are. You don't have the equipment to teach that.
It's been bringing us back. You know, instead of going forward, even when you go 10 steps forward, it will bring you back 15 steps.
Now that Senator John Eno has begun work as the 36th Minister of Sports, Nigerians known to be sports-loving are eager to see him unveil and implement his plans to revamp sports in the country. In Abuja, Bade Adeleye, NTA News.
Thank you very much, Bade, for the sports report. Let's now join Akami Samada for weather advice.
To have you join us. Following the massive storm that passed across the country on Sunday, we expect cloudiness over parts of the northeast and parts of the southeast, with some chances of thunderstorms to parts of Kogi, Niger, the Federal Capital Territory, Kwara, Kaduna, Sokoto, Kebbi, and parts of Zamfara State. While to parts of Lagos, Oyo, and Ogun State, we expect light rains. And by afternoon, it will be mainly different shades of rainfall activities, from light rains expected over the southern region to thunderstorms expected over parts of the north, and few thunderstorms to parts of Plateau and Nasarawa State. And that concludes Monday forecast. I am Akami Samarda. Stand by for temperature forecast across some selected cities.
Thank you very much, Akame Samada, for the weather forecast. And that also ends the news beat of Newsline from Abuja studios. And talking about knowledge, one of the Greek foremost philosophers did say that knowledge is attainable. Knowledge is infallible. So age certainly cannot be a barrier to knowledge acquisition. I look forward to that story about the 80-year-old woman in school. Don't worry, Jennifer will be back with that report in just a moment.
Time for Newsline stories, and thank you for being there. In a typical Hausa society in the northern part of the country, local barbers are commonly seen on the streets. But what is unusual is one who is also a professor and senior lecturer at the Federal University, Doshima in Katsina State. A blend of tradition and modernity, Professor Bashir Aliu Salau works as a barber in his spare time. Awal Haliru spends time with this uncommon prof.
The 64-year-old Bashir Aliu Salau, professor of Hausa Cultural Studies, is a senior lecturer with the Faculty of Arts, Federal University Dusuma. He was born in Safana local government area of Katsina State. His late father, Malam Aliu Salau, was the chief barber of the traditional ruler of Safana district. Professor Salau is proud to have inherited his father's occupation as a local barber. Since he started formal education in 1968, his father urged him to sustain the main occupation of the family, which is known in Hausa language as Wanzanchi. In spite of his level of education, Professor Bashir Aliu Salau engages in traditional barbing as his side job. He does barbing and circumcision, which indicates that there are certain elements of culture that can be used as an aspect of traditional entrepreneurship.
It was in this town that I started practicing circumcision and most aspects of traditional barbing. As it was in this town in 1979 that I circumcised the first child in my life.
Professor Salau becomes a role model to his students and a source of pride to his colleagues in the university.
He indicates the fact that, yes, we have a culture that, there are certain elements of that culture that we can, bring up as an aspect of traditional entrepreneurship.
People nowadays, they have totally abandoned our culture. And this is something we should be proud of.
Not somebody that is too pompous. Now, he's somebody that he loves everybody to be an ambassador of his society.
It's a very nice lecturer to us.
They described the development as strategic, particularly in the contemporary society where there are young people who are ignorant of their history.
Everybody will want to believe, how can I be, if I'm just an ordinary graduate, to be a barber? Not to talk of a doctor, not to talk of a professor. I think it's something that is sending, a message. Without salary, he can maintain his family.
We are in the protracted strike in 2021 and 2022. A lot of our colleagues have suffered a lot in their lives. So people like Professor Bashir Aliu Salau, who have another things doing, actually they have not suffered. He has even confessed it.
The story of Professor Salau shows the importance of promoting cultural heritage, which the society have in the history, to a level that economic base could be created.
Is indeed a good example, particularly for the students, for them to know that you can still have education, be an entrepreneur, and promote culture. Now we go to Ogun State. A 48-year-old mother of 6, Elizabeth Ologun, is one of the over 500 students participating in the ongoing free summer coaching for secondary school students in Ijebu North local government area of Ogun State. Her enrollment attracted media attention because of her peculiarity and desire to change her life story. Let's go with Anthony Gandonu to Ijebu for details.
August every year is a period of long vacation for both primary and secondary schools across the country, indicating transition from one academic session to another. Schools, especially private, in order not to lose their students and teachers, usually organize holiday coaching. Some parents also enroll their children to maintain and improve their academic balance as well as reduce their non-academic activities during the period. To quench her thirst for knowledge, 48-year-old Elizabeth Ologun put aside all shames and joined other secondary school students, including 2 of her children, for a free holiday lesson. A mother of 6 shared her story.
It's because of those things that I passed through in my life. I have grace to start primary school with my dad. But when it gets to a certain stage, I can't continue with it again because my daddy is late.
According to her, she desired to return to school, acquire more knowledge that will qualify her to become a professional teacher.
What I need is the knowledge. Yes, I want to have more knowledge about education. Yes, even if it is possible to start from GSS 1, I'm not scared of it, I'm okay anyhow.
One of her teachers, Ahmed Adebajo, and her husband, Pastor Samuel Ologun, described Elizabeth as an epitome of humility.
I've never seen a person like this, because when you are seeing somebody like this, it would be an adult class. But for her to have volunteered herself and ready to learn, being in the class of the smaller ones, been very calm, she has been very devoted, and she is ready to learn.
I need to allow her because she's very determined. She wants to have education, and I have seen it in her. So I don't need to stop her. That is the reason I allow her.
Our intention was not to register a married woman or a old woman like her, but seeing her with the motif, with the seal, we had to interview her. Madam, what do you want? She said she came for the coaching. We said no. We organize coaching for secondary school students, and we know that you are not in secondary school. She said that she had interest of refreshing her brain. That was what gave us a certain seal in helping her. After this lesson period, free holiday coaching, we are going to enroll her in a commercial coaching class where she is going to stay there for like a year to receive lecture before we enroll her for maybe WAHEC, for whole level examination. After whole level examination, we have in mind to sponsor our education to open university.
I love her spirit, and never say never. If you have the will, there's always the way. Now, talking about will, 3 young secondary school students from Akure, Ondo State, including Guinness World Records holders in rope skipping, Benga Ezekiel and Solomon Philip, are set to break new world records. Oluwakemi Aino, who is also excited about the move, says the official attempt videos have been forwarded to Guinness World Records and awaiting verification for 5 new records. Kemi, over to you.
Benga Ezekiel, Philip Solomon, Dunsin Dubem and Kenneth Goswe Chidera filed out with zeal and determination to rehearse in readiness for the epoch-making event. The Guinness World Records attempts began with Benga Ezekiel, the current world record holder on most skips on one leg in 1 minute, showcasing his skipping prowess by breaking his own world record of 265 skips in 1 minute and a new record of 276 with 11 additional skips. This remarkable achievement makes him the first Nigerian and African rope skipper to break his own record. Benga first broke the record in October 2022 by skipping 265 to dethrone Russell Islam of Bangladesh. The Ijapo High School students went ahead to challenge Imansu Prajapati of India in most double under skips on one leg in 1 minute. He successfully smashed Prajapati's 132 record with 12 skips as he skipped 144 in 1 minute to capture the record.
The record I said before is not enough, and I want to break more so that it will not be easy to break for the rest of the remaining people.
Also, Philip Solomon, the Oyemekun Grammar School student who currently holds the Guinness World Record in most skips on one leg in 30 seconds. He recorded 68 skips in most crisscross on one leg in 30 seconds against Prajapati's 67 and 70 in most crisscross skips on one leg in 30 seconds blindfolded to erase Prajapati's 62.
Been training for almost 1-2 years, and their world championship we are supposed to attend, but unable to get sponsors. We are not able to attend them. So all of us were unhappy, but our coach told us that there are other ways we can show ourselves to the world. So he talked about breaking the Guinness World Records, and since then we are training for it.
Interestingly, a debutant Dunsin Dubem made his Guinness World Record move by skipping 77 in most double under crossovers in 30 seconds. The record is presently held by Ryan Idion Alonso of the Philippines.
Break my world record, I say that what people can do, I could do better. I gave myself the encouragement, and also encouragement from my families and my teammates, and also from my coach.
They set target for themselves and nothing stops them from achieving it. Because when Benga said he was going to break the first Guinness World Record, I told him, that record is too high for you. He said he's going to break it.
Very soon, these youngsters will be received by the governor of the state, and they will be handsomely rewarded.
Interestingly, their family acknowledged the hard work and dedication that brought the young boys this far. What is next is the verification of this skipper's evidence by the Guinness World Record Management.
Their hard work will not be in vain. Do you know that if I wasn't the one presenting this program and I had walked into a room, I would just conclude that they were dancing or just moving their hands, because those guys were so fast that I wasn't even seeing the ropes. So we are optimistic they will break records. Now to Osogbo, the bustling city of Osogbo, beautiful Osogbo, where a business termed to be risky is thriving. And Annie Daniels will help us understand why people choose this risky option.
To other parts of the country, and it's bustling with activities. Transportation business thrives here, including the infamous Sole, unregistered cars packed with passengers rushing to their destinations. A convenient choice for many, but at what cost?
That's how people get kidnapped easily. I've never heard anything like they later recover that person. No, he's gone.
I've entered a bus before. It was even looking like a bus, and they were looking so nice. The driver was going direct, and he was looking like he was going to the right place, but God took control that time that the car spoiled. They were making calls, like strange calls. That's when my body was telling me that no, I should drop. So I told them I'm not going, and they refused to drop. So I passed the window.
Cases of missing persons have become too common here, yet Sole still continues.
Because of maybe they don't have the transport fare to pick a car from the park.
Meet Olayemi Yunusa, the man in charge of this motor park. He holds onto the hope that people will do the right thing.
We are loading here now. We have a ticket, government ticket that we are selling, and we have a passenger manifest. If you came here to enter bus, is either Lagos or Ibadan. I have passenger manifest that you will write your name, your destination, where are you going to, where are you coming from, your phone number. To be in case of incasity, you can use that passenger manifest to locate everything.
Listen to more.
Difference between Sole and Park is no more than 500. Yeah. But the danger is more than 1 million.
Even with the passenger manifest scheme, we encourage the passengers as they enter the vehicles to take note of the number plates, the registrations of that vehicle. They could easily send text messages, SMS messages to their loved ones. They are in vehicles so, registered number so, traveling from so. It helps a lot. So for anybody to encourage Sole, I think he is not aware, or is not, current in terms of the security challenges and safety.
We have seen a case in this Osun State. The vehicle owner was from Lagos, and some 4 men waved him down, and he stopped for them. He said he was going to Abuja, to deliver that vehicle to somebody. So he carried them. When they got to Bongan area, as is of Osun State, they pointed gun at him. So they had to drag him down from the vehicle, and they beat him. After beating him, they even shot him.
But what do the people think? Will the Sole business ever stop?
Sole option may be cheaper, but it is best to think of safety. Don't forget that it's better safe than to be sorry, okay? Now, a name is considered a container that shapes the destiny of either persons or institutions. The change from the Nigerian Prison Service to Nigerian Correctional Service is one that props up the question, could it be old wine in a new bottle? Yahanatu Hassan takes this question to Kurumawa Medium Prison. I beg your pardon, Kurumawa Custodial Facility in Kano, one of the oldest in the country.
Kurumawa Medium Custodial Center Kano has seen it all, as it dates back to the colonial era. It has capacity of 1,000 inmates and was before now considered a punitive ground for criminals in tune with draconian colonial mentality. However, with the change of both policy and nomenclature that saw the Nigerian Prison Service metamorphosed to Nigerian Custodial Services, and prisons renamed correctional centers, a vista of hope now radiates from thresholds that were once filled with darkness and doom. A peep through such threshold confirms that changes arising from such reforms are not akin to that paradox of old wine in new bottle. It is a reform that reflects global best practice. Inmates in this facility are taking advantage of the new thinking to develop positive mindset and commitment to validate the best productive version of themselves. Some of them embrace skills acquisition, while others enroll into study centers to obtain secondary school certificates. Ibrahim is among those enrolled in the study center to prepare himself towards pursuing his dream after serving his jail term.
I intend to join one of the security personnel, either Nigerian Defense Academy.
Moved to the Ministry of Education, from there to the board, that is Kano State Secondary School, Senior Secondary School Management Board. I meet the Executive Secretary. From there I moved to KERD. From there I moved to the Principal of School for Arabic Studies, which is very closer to us. So at the end of the day, they approve it for us that anybody who successfully completed his study in this center, they will give him the certificate.
7 of the teachers are among the staff, and 11 of the teachers are among the inmates. And now, those that wrote their exam, when they came up with caliber results, by God's grace, even if they are discharged, we are going to follow them to see that they got admission.
For these categories of inmates, they are into various skills acquisition training. Their dream is to become productive citizens.
I found myself here. I'm thinking day and night, how can I continue with my study? By special grace of God, the God have mercy us and send us this DC, which give us chance to continue with our education.
I came here, I decided to join to learn how to make clothes on my own.
Their detention is no longer an impediment to enjoyment, even within these 4 walls of custodial center.
This is good, so that in the long run, when they come out, they would be well equipped to reintegrate into the society. Time for more messages. We have more interesting stories, so don't go away. Welcome back. reinventing the New Yam Festival to serve as a rallying point for societal reflection towards the development of the country reverberated at the Okudo Iriji Festival lecture organized by the member representing Afikpo and Eda Federal Constituency of Ebonyi State, Chief Idu Egariwa. The festival also afforded the lawmaker opportunity to celebrate the New Yam Festival with his constituents. Uchechukwu Onwe reels out the sights and sounds of the ceremony.
The Okudo annual lecture series for years now is targeted at exposing the knowledge gap in the historical progression as well as the relevance of Iriji Festival among the people of Afikpo. This vision formed the basis of the 2023 series, which is the third, with its theme, Iriji Festival, Rethinking Our Ceremonies and Refocusing Our Development. This theme links culture with development such that culture becomes a catalyst instrument potent enough to drive the wheels of development.
Iriji Festival is also a time to demonstrate generosity and magnanimity and to show love to humanity. This is done to reinforce our sense of oneness, communality, and common heritage.
It's a blend of the ancient and the modern, of tradition and modernity.
While officially inspecting his yam ban and flagging off the 2023 EKG Afikpo and Eda people, the member representing Afikpo and Eda Federal Constituency, Chief Idume Igariwe, and wife Florence Igariwe acknowledged that the lecture is to unite, preserve, as well as project the cultural heritage of Afikpo and Eda people to the global community.
We must recognize the historic essence of our colonial past, which brought about the Western system as we know it. But woe betide us if we now decide to throw away our culture.
You will also hear gunshots showing that this year is better than last year.
The event, which was a display of different cultural activities performed by some notable groups, which include the Onikara, Esa, and Eto Traditional Rulers Council, likewise the Umada women, Ivunku Ikeji, symbolizing the transition and gift of a new yam. Chief Ori Gabriel Anyigagwo and other age-grade council of traditional rulers explained that the bonfire symbolizes a landmark achievement and aged tradition of bidding the old year farewell and ushering a new calendar year in Afikpo tradition.
Like I said, when you get the new yam, you are in the new year, and it's a new child coming to the world. And like I said, besides, it is the peg on which the cultural hangs.
Activities climaxing the 2023 Okudo annual lecture series was the distribution of tubers of yams to the 23 wards in Afikpo and Eda constituency, as well as the distribution of cash gifts, fertilizers, and waste disposal bins to churches and some health facilities in the constituency.
EDG Festival is important in the southeast, and I think all across Nigeria, yam is considered king of crops. Now, year 2023 presented another opportunity for members of the National Association of Liberated Tigers North to consolidate and forge a new course on their mantra of social justice and change among members and communities. Members from across the world converged on Abuja for this year's Harris Convention, and our reporter, Charles Alpha, was there.
This gathering is called the Communion. From Africa to North America and the United Arab Emirates, from Great Britain, Turkey, and to the Caribbean deserts, members of this National Association of Liberated Tigers North came to champion a common cause, that is, to promote an egalitarian society where peace and social justice are entrenched. lifting each other up, be the voice of the voiceless, and strength for the weak. During this once in 2 years convention, members get to renew their commitment, review, and strategize for the years ahead.
The only thing constant
for this
in life
year,
is change.
Management,
Simply
challenges and prospects for sustaining
process
institution,
or
and the need to deepen the rule of law were the focus.
That's why we are different. Help the widows, help the poor, build roads, use the money for what it's earmarked for. Show that you are from a different association.
That has been the core, our core value. Embedded in that is our belief in discipline, that people should follow rules.
Also do good for ourselves because we go through a lot of trainings, supporting each other to grow and supporting the government, especially when they are doing well, and criticizing them also, effectively and diplomatically.
Unless we begin to see ourselves as participants rather than observers in the system wherever we belong, then we just have to take whatever comes.
As they unwind and catch up on old times, what NALT stands for played out. Widows were provided free medical checkups, food items were provided, as well as cash.
Why do I have to say a big thank you to you? Because ever since I lost my husband, I've not experienced this kind of a thing. I've not. Not even a gift. Not even a cup of rice.
I just want to appreciate them. And I will use this opportunity to call on other organizations. Husband of the Widows Foundation International is open.
The National Association of Liberated Tigers, NALT, is a non-profit organization established to also improve communities, promote equity, accountability, and teamwork.
Thank God we have people who remember widows and still talking about the plight of widows. We have a case. A 64-year-old widow and mother of 3, Taiwo Olawekbo, has been rendered homeless following her alleged eviction from her late husband's house in Ilorin. Ahmed Fulani, who visited the widow, who is also a pensioner, describes her situation as very pathetic.
That was Taiwo Olawekbo crying on the day she was allegedly evicted from her home. This is the house that Mrs. Olawekbo said she inherited from her husband who died 6 years ago. The house, according to the woman's first child, was bought by her late father about 31 years ago. On getting to a Ajegule residence of Mrs. Olawekbo's eldest child in Abuja area of Ilorin, I was received by the 64-year-old widow with tears rolling down her cheeks as she narrated her present predicament. She is now temporarily homeless following her eviction out of the house allegedly bought by her late husband 30 years ago by an agency in charge of government properties. She sees her eviction as not only illegal but also dehumanizing, especially with the case still before a magistrate court with a plea to the state government and other stakeholders not to usurp what was bequeathed to her and her children.
I will not collect my gratitude, and if they still remain, I will be paying them monthly. No money for me to rent a house, nowhere for me to go. See all my load outside. Even where I kept the others, I don't know what is happening to my load there. There is nothing. My husband did not have anything. That is the only thing he has.
I begged the people that came, they said it is the order from the state government that they should drive her outside. The house belongs to the state government. I'm pleading to Governor Abdurrahman Abdurazak, he's a father.
My quest to unravel more truth on the matter took me to the office of Harmony Holdings Limited in Ilorin, where the acting MD says the house in question was let out on rent and not sold to late Mr. Olawekbo by the then Kwara Property and Investment Development Company. Harmony Holdings, according to her, secured a valid court judgment and subsequent order to evict her from the house in question.
There was a time the wife came, or sometimes in 2009 or 2010, that she wanted to buy the house, and she was given the bill to buy the house, but unfortunately she could not meet up with the bill, so she was paying rent. It is rent they were paying all this while.
Counsels to both defendant and plaintiff gave their positions on the court's judgment concerning the matter.
Summary of all we are saying is that if at all you feel you have obtained a judgment and the other party is saying he is aggrieved, he has that constitutionally guaranteed right of appeal.
He filed an appeal on 6th February 2023. That was 60 days after the constitutionally guaranteed period he could file appeal. So it was basically on that ground, coupled with my own objection, the learned magistrate struck out the application.
The house is currently under lock and key and in the custody of Harmony Holdings Limited, pending further hearing on the matter.
I'm just wondering, even the holding, the company, I mean, don't you have like corporate social responsibility or something? Something should be done. I mean, that poor widow should not be left on the streets. Not a good thing at all. Have you ever imagined a poor widow, still on widows, being robbed and deprived of the little she has? Funny and sad. Well, such a situation attracted an activist whose specialty is providing succor to less privileged women in the society. Interventions of this activist has helped and is still helping many vulnerable women. Olusheye Adeagbo wants to tell us about this activist.
After my husband died, everything hard.
Ruth Asa, mother of three, shares the same narrative most widows will probably have. In this part of the world where I am, poverty and widowhood are closely interlinked. Even when these widows, about 20 of them, make effort to fend for themselves, Anna Daniel tells me their nature outcome.
A woman now told us about sweet potato flour. Why can't we go into it? Let's try it as a group. That was how we were doing until when robbers broke in and stole away some of our properties.
My visit to these widows, several of them at different spots, I find it difficult to sense that sign of pity, positive tone, with different interventions by the Helpline Foundation for the Needy, a non-government organization that prioritizes improvement in the living standard of vulnerable women and indigent girls.
Help Foundation, I go there. They give me engine. After give me engine, everything, he come down. He easy for me. Train my children.
This Gary production has really helped us. From it, we feed our family. And then when we sell, we do help ourselves also.
After the training, they give us some money to start our training.
We have been engaged with women over 20 years now, and we have empowered over 7,000 women, so far, and even beyond Abuja.
In statistics of the United Nations, Nigeria is home to about 15 million of the world's 208 million widows, and over 8 million of these widows are in a disadvantaged state, with over 21 million children. These statistics appear to be on the increase, and Dr. Jume Amerju tells me what drives the insight.
I got a story around Jikwe area of a woman that she collected money from 20,000 naira. They are supposed to be paying every week 2,000. The week you don't pay the 2,000, if you don't pay for like 3 consecutive weeks, they'll cancel what you have paid. And until you're able to pay this money complete or at once, you'll still be paying. As I went to Jikwe to rescue the woman, when we brought her document from this office, she had paid them about 35,000 naira in profit, but her capital is still running. We have the non-profit revolving loan scheme for the widows. After you exit your payment, which is non-profit, you'll still be saving your money in your account, which means they are now independent. They have money of their own. So each time I think about this particular intervention, it gives me so many a reason to thank God that we're able to rescue women from their dependable state.
Impoverished widows in their hundreds have now been impacted which had the long-on effect to supporting their dependents. But the program is not without some challenges.
Peculiarity of the people that we are focusing on, the widows in particular, most of them, they have this victim mindset that their world has come to an end. And instead of them to rise up to the occasion like we are telling them, and I'm glad that the messages that we have been passing to them over the years is beginning to resonate with them. So that challenge is also being surmounted in the sense that we make them to compete healthily among themselves. Then, but the general challenge, like we all know, is funding. And how do we try as much as possible to reach out to like minds.
You might not think you have enough to give, but you can still give a bit from the little you have, is the lesson I have learned from Dr. Jume Amaju's passion. And as vulnerable women in millions still live in our midst, interventions like the Helpline Foundation is much needed, as women's economic empowerment is central to realizing women's rights, gender equality, and having a viable society.
We need to do more for widows. Time for another break. We'll be back. Do you still remember the story of the 38-year-old woman, Ozioma Nwafo, who appealed for financial assistance to undergo a surgery for her abnormal health condition? We featured her last week. There is cheery news, as good-spirited Nigerians have helped to kickstart her treatment process and needed surgery. Chinyere Fesi Okoye, who has been following the story, has update. Now, viewer discretion is advised.
We are back to St. Joseph's Hospital, Adazin Nuku, still in respect to the case concerning Ozioma Nwafo, whom we brought a special report on, making an appeal before now for money to undergo a surgery. And here we are today. The surgery has been completed.
The surgery, which lasted over 4 hours, all concerned were kept on their toes to achieve positive outcome, while her relations were seen patiently waiting by the theatre side.
I have stayed long to no treatment. I say that whatever you people have, get this money for my treatment. God will bless you. You bless this money.
You people really try. We really appreciate. We are still asking for more help, like this drugs now. This one alone costs us 178,000, and I'm still going outside to buy more, and that one is too expensive too.
The pain she was going through was so severe, and I'm so grateful to God that she went into the surgery room and came out successful.
All efforts to hear from the doctors who performed the surgery at the time of filing this report proved abortive, as none was willing to speak on camera. Meanwhile, the total cost of the surgery has not been ascertained, as treatment is still in progress.
I want to say thank you so much for the Nigerians who reached out to her. And like you've seen in that report, the treatment is still ongoing, so we need to still do something. Time for another break. Newsline will continue shortly. Welcome back. Our next story is on culture. Now, when we talk about culture, what do you hope to see? I'm sure what you hope to see is the way of life of a particular set of people, right? So it was a display of culture and tradition at the Ahmadu Bello Stadium, Kaduna, when people of different languages converged to witness the 2023 International Hausa Day. There is no way NTA would have missed such an occasion. So Haruna Mohammed was there and he'll give us highlights.
Glitz and glamour in admiration for a typical Hausa culture, celebrating International Hausa Day in Kaduna. It was an assemblage of rich cultural heritage of the Hausa people, from drums to the hunters, including traditional boxing, fishing, blacksmithing, among others.
wherever you go, you are going to find a Hausa man. And of course, his language is one of a kind. He is found to be different.
Those who neglect their tradition is just like a son who does not know his parents.
Governor of Kaduna State, represented by the Commissioner for Human Services, Rabi Salisu, in his address described the day as an epoch-making event, adding that Hausa language is one of the most spoken language within the country and beyond.
A symbol of unity, because all these things before is there in the Hausa novels like Ruwan Bagaja, Magana Jari. Every youth then you have to read a Hausa novel where you be in contact with culture and tradition.
And we always want to make sure that our children know about our tradition and our culture, which it shows who we are in the world.
All across the globe, in many countries, Hausa communities are celebrating this day, where they showcase their culture and traditions, as well as appreciate the Almighty for giving them this language.
And it was time for exhibition showcasing the Hausa traditional medicine and food, among other products which the governor been gifted. As the reporter on the epochal event, I also tried my hand on one of the long tradition of blacksmithing, finding it amazing. Also, is drama of the traditional way of taking a bride to her husband's house in line with the Hausa culture. The 2023 International Hausa Day is a sight to behold, with everyone having a take home of what to tell those who missed it.
Culture is beautiful, and to the Hausas I say Sanu. So this is where we'll end today's edition of Newsline. Thank you for watching, and remember that it's good to be your brother's keeper. Good night and God bless Nigeria.